Hey everyone, welcome back to Aravaipa Trail Talk. We're doing a bit of it's not quite a solo episode, but I'm solo on this side of the camera, and we got Bryce Brooks over here producing the show. It's a little pre-holidays show recap, so thank you for joining us today. We're going to be recapping our Cave Creek Thriller results, kind of our final dirt report for the Fall Dirt Series. We're also going to be talking about the Aravaipa Racing Team and taking a quick look at across the years coming up. We'll also have a Q&A portion and some quick takes. So we got a few exciting things to talk about today. Bryce, congratulations on the second win in the series.
Thank you, Jamel.
Cave Creek Thriller 50K. Had a solid day out there. Saw you a couple times out on course.
It was a good day. It was very cold at the start, which I was really scared about, we're talking 35 degrees.
And there's literally like a mega cold front across like half the country right now.
Right.
Did you see that? I saw something where it dropped, I think it was like in Wyoming somewhere, it dropped 37 degrees in 10 minutes.
What?
Yeah. Like yesterday afternoon.
I've never heard of that.
It was like, there's like a crazy cold front that blew in from the north, and so I guess right on the front edge of that, it just like instantly dropped like 30 to 40 degrees. That would be wild.
So it could be worse.
It could be worse. Yeah. Yeah. We're talking 40 degrees out, 35. So, but yeah, no, it's definitely chilly for us desert rats.
But yeah, thank you. So Cave Creek Thriller, just a little bit of a summary of how it went. Went out, it's still dark when you start Cave Creek Thriller. It's an early start. You start right near the lake. You don't see the lake. You start right next to it, though.
Near Lake Pleasant.
Right near Lake Pleasant.
Yep.
Thank you. And then it's a point-to-point course, which is really cool. So it's mostly the Maricopa Loop Trail. Do you know how far the actual whole loop trail is? What is it? 300?
It depends how you add it up. I think if you do just the interior, it's like 260, I'm going to say. Oh,
and then
there's additional parts that go through to more of the parks. But I think if you just did the loop without the out and backs to some of the regional parks, it's about 260. But I think there's well over 300 miles of trail currently, and they have an extension planned that's going to be out towards Wickenburg someday.
Oh, interesting.
There's going to be a new regional park out there.
Oh, really?
Vulture Mountain.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Is that where Vulture Mine
took place? Across the street from Vulture Mine. Okay. So it's going to be the largest regional park in the entire system, and they're still in the early planning stages of it.
Interesting.
But yeah. Very
interesting. Yeah. And quick shout out to Josh Locke, the FKT holder on the Maricopa Loop Trail.
Yep.
So the course, point to point, it's mostly flat for, I want to say, the first 15 to 17 miles. You make your way to the half point, which is Anthem. And then you start getting into more rolling hills, Cave Creek Regional Park. And it's really beautiful course. The first half of it's flat, and then all of a sudden you're running through basically the whole town of Anthem, and then it changes quite dramatically once you get up into the hills. So I enjoyed it. My second time running it. Improved quite a bit on my first one.
Nice. Yeah, I would say it's a good connector piece. You're actually on the Black Canyon Trail briefly for like a mile.
Right.
But it is south of the main terminus. So where we end Black Canyon, there's another few miles of trail. They were supposed to build a trailhead off the Carefree Highway, but I don't know if we've like fully abandoned those plans, but they're not moving forward with those plans at this point in time.
Gotcha.
So we'll see.
Interesting.
So Bryce took the win, and we had Nick Curry close behind, just a few minutes back.
We should put a disclaimer on that, I think.
You think so?
I think we should put a disclaimer on that. Nick ran the McDowell Mountain Frenzy 50K on the 3rd, got second.
Yep.
And then turned around 7 days later on the 10th, ran the Tucson Marathon.
Third place.
Podiumed at a road race, primarily downhill, which I don't think is quite Nick's forte, but crushed it. And then 7 days later, he's out. I see him on the entrance list for Cave Creek Thriller. And so I think I've mentioned this to a few people before, but I knew there was blood in the water. I've raced Nick many times, and Nick every single time has beat me on his negative splits towards the end of the race.
Yeah.
I knew his legs were not fresh going into this, so I figured if I just blasted the first half of the race, there's a chance he won't catch me at the end, and he almost did, but it worked out. And
yeah, it was just 3 minutes at the end. I know you had about 8 or 9 minutes on him, I think at mile 22. So he was starting to close, but you had enough on him to hold him off.
Barely. We'll take it.
Good stuff. So yeah, we had, let's see, Spencer Busby of Flagstaff came in third, about 30 minutes behind Nick. So you guys were definitely way out front on that one. And it looks like your time will go down as the 4th fastest all time for this event, which is awesome. Congratulations. That's huge. And
Thank you
Nick's
much.
is the 5th fastest. So you ran a 4:01. Only 3 people have ever broken 4. So close.
And I was there to see the course record last year, which we'll be mentioning this individual later in the show, but Ryan Raff crushed it last year, and that was impressive to see.
Yep. And then on the women's side, we have Rachel Buzzard was your winner in what she just placed, 2nd or 3rd at Frenzy?
Yep.
And hers was looks like 7th fastest all time with a 5:17. Now, shout out to Megan Kupras because she ran a 4:20 last year with Natalie Sandoval on her heels. So those are some fast times right there.
The ladies last year they were 3 of the top 6.
Yep. Oh man, 4 of the top 5.
Yep.
With Lauren Curry, Nicole Hansen. That's wild. And Summer Igo was your 2nd place finisher, 9th fastest all time with a 5:24.
Which, disclaimer there too, she just ran McDowell Mountain 50 miles. So
2 weeks later.
Kudos to Summer for
Quick
running that
recovery.
on heavy legs. Yep.
Legit. So yeah, that's kind of our Cave Creek Thriller recap. Let's see. 3rd place was, I'm looking at Bella Ward from Phoenix.
Bella Ward she's ran all 3 so far. She's
yeah,
done
I'm
really
taking a
well.
look at we like to recap our standings as well. So our Hawk series is the long distance in the Desert Runner Trail series, which if you haven't been tuning in is our premier winter trail series here in the Phoenix area. We hit all of the regional parks. And so we're out 3 out of the 7 so far. The next one is Santan in early January, same day as Bandera actually. And Bryce Brooks is the top of the list so far. So you need to score 3. We score your top 3 out of 7 races. So I guess at this point you can just improve. But you're doing pretty good. 2869 in terms of points. So you can get up to 1,000 points per race, and it's based upon the winning time.
With the exception of Mesquite, which last year I was in the lead all the way through, and then Aaron Barber snuck in and took a few of the last ones, and then took a win at Mesquite Canyon. Is it the 50 mile or the 50K? One of those two he did really well at last year.
I forget which one he did, but yeah, you could. That's the kind of the strategy is you can choose either, so you can score points in either. So you kind of, if you want to take the series win, you basically have to show up at Mesquite and do well. So I'm sure you're going to be targeting that one. I mean, with 2 wins, you're setting yourself up in a good position. But if you can score 1,200 plus points, that will replace your 869 at McDowell.
Oh, totally. I thought I had it last year, and then Aaron went out and crushed it. So.
Got to show up to Mesquite. I love that. Let's see. And Bella Ward is currently your women's leader with 2,807 points, 2nd overall. So we'll keep an eye on those as we go. We'll do a quick recap of the 24K. Dan Watson again with the win. Chad Boise and Julian Kuyu 3rd. And for the women, we had Leah Rosenfeld took the win over Natalie Sandoval, and then it was Amanda Westergaard. And we had a little bit of drama, I guess, up at the front of the 24K. It's also a point-to-point race. It was like a mile or 2 in. There was a pack that took a wrong turn.
Yep.
Wild. Went off the trail, just out and back on a dirt road. I think Natalie was part of that pack. Some of the top men were part of that pack. So who knows how it would have played out, but that's part of trail racing.
Oh, yeah. They should have had the pink shirt on for a disclaimer, whoever was leading that pack out.
So Dan Watson is currently your overall Trail Owl Series leader, and he has 2 wins so far. And then Amanda Westergaard, who was third, she had a win at McDowell Mountain Frenzy, and she has 2,827 points. So we'll see how that continues to play out. Just recap, our Roadrunner series is kind of our little bit lower distance, 10K, 11K, 10-mile distance. We got Alicia Morton, who won Cave Creek Thriller and Frenzy, is out in the lead. And it looks like no male has won more than one race. But there are a handful of folks that have done all 3, and they're the ones that are kind of on the leaderboard right now. Jeff Colston is your current leader. And then our Quail, which is our short series for our shortest distance, Sam Lev is currently your leader. He won Pass and then was podium, I think, for the next couple. And then Francesca Ferry is your women's leader at the moment. And again, no one has won more than one race so far. So that's kind of your recap there. So yeah, we have spring passes still available up until the start of our spring series, which is Santan Scramble. So check those out. We have 4 races from January through March. Santan, Coldwater, Elephant Mountain, and Mesquite Canyon, of course, is going to be our championship race. And then we like to celebrate everything at Damn Good Run in April. So that's kind of the capstone of the entire experience, the little lake party that we have going on. So yeah, I don't know if you have anything more to add for Dirt Series right now, but I think that's kind of our recap for today.
Yeah, I'll just mention with Santan coming up, awesome course. I love that. I love Santan Regional Park. Kind of grew up out there. We are doing a group run. If anybody wants to jump into Santan last minute, it's going to be, I believe, the Thursday before the race. We'll be putting a social announcement out about it. But if you want to come out, do 1 lap.
Course preview.
It's about a little over 6 miles. We'll go at a pretty even pace, or pretty steady pace. And then afterwards, we'll regroup for food and raffle.
Who's helping to host that?
That is with Queen Creek Run Club down there.
Shout out to Queen Creek Running Company.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Queen Creek Running Company, shout out to those guys for being out in the Southeast Valley and serving out there.
Yep.
Awesome. What should we move on to next? Let's see. Strava segment. So we've been doing these Strava segments.
Yeah.
This one is called, Scott wanted to do something a little bit shorter on this one. And so we have the ABC Always Be Closing. This is just a 0.15 mile section. And let's see if I can pull it up in the right way here to see the recent efforts. It looks like on December 17th, we had Brian King and Dan Watson tie on this one, 50 seconds.
Look at that pace. 5:22.
And this is closing it out. This is the very end of the race. Like basically to the finish line.
You can see the elevation profile here. So the end of the course is pretty much like a downhill the last mile.
There's a little roller, and then there's one steep pitch until you cross the finish line. At first, he wanted to do just the steep pitch. I think that would have been like 4 seconds.
Right. And Strava doesn't let you do that. So
yeah, we probably would have had like a 50-way tie. Probably good that we didn't do that. But
that's a good point.
We did have Brian and Dan here closing it out strong. And then let's see who was next. Matthew Hamilton was next at 52 seconds. So definitely a close call here. Andy Klink, that was from a couple years ago, but you can tell all of these are either mid-October or end of December.
Right.
So they all happened at Cave Creek Thriller for certain.
And on the women's side, Natalie by 17 seconds.
Wow, she closed strong.
She closed very strong. And also, shout out to Sabrina. Sabrina runs a lot of our races, volunteers all the time. You see her everywhere.
She's on our event crew, too.
She's on the event crew. So shout out to Sabrina, who crushed that last week.
Familiar names up at the front there.
And Summer, of course. Yeah, there are a lot of familiar names through here. And if we want to look at, so we're on this month. If we go to all time, Megan has it by quite a bit.
Wow, at the end of that 50K.
And next to with Colleen, Natalie again, and Leah Mack, a lot of familiar names on there.
Jessica Brazow, she was chasing me down last year. That
Yep.
was scary.
Yep. She's quick too. I've heard her name.
Oh, yeah. Well, awesome. What should we do next? Across the years preview?
Yeah, we can take a peek.
Super excited. Just thank you to everyone. Shout out who's coming out to Across the Years. We're getting to the end of our December madness. It was very stressful for Aravaipa and the team. Thank you. Shout out to our awesome staff and team for getting through this month. It's been a lot, so I appreciate everyone who's been part of the team, and we've kind of gotten through it here. So Across the Years is coming up. We did a 10-day for last couple years. We're shortening it down, just a 6-day and below, but probably a good thing. But we do have a lot going on. So 6-day, we have a 3-day, 2-day, 1-day. You can choose your day. We've got a 6 and 12 hour, 100-miler, marathons each day. A lot of marathon maniacs coming out to get multiple days in. And then we do have our last person standing, which is shaping up to be pretty awesome this year. Last year, I feel like, was a little bit of a step down in terms of competitiveness from the first year. We didn't go quite as far as the first year, but this year I'm fully expecting it to go minimum 2 days is what I'm calling. I'm thinking 200 miles.
I will say there are some stubborn people, and I mean that in the most complimentary way. But I think I think there's a lot of people in this who can grind for a long time. A lot of through hiking experience in here, specifically with the AZT.
Yep. It's going to be good stuff. A lot of Cocodona experience, too.
Aaron Barber jumped in there last minute, too.
Who?
Aaron Barber.
Oh, yeah, Aaron Barber. Really? That's legit. So we got our 6-day. We have 69 people registered, which is a great turnout. This is our biggest Across the Years ever. We have almost 600 entrants. Can still sign up online by midnight tonight. But we have Budger Girl Bayamba from, it says from Washington now, but originally from Mongolia. It was our winner last year. Was the men's winner at Jackpot and a bunch of other races, 6 days at the Dome.
Just so steady. If you see him in person, it's very impressive.
We got Annabelle Hepworth coming back from Australia. Martina Hausman, our women's mileage leader for Across the Years, going to hit 5,000 miles this year. Our men's mileage leader, John Giesler, coming back. He's going to hit 6,000 lifetime miles this year. Iso Yukra. We've got Katra Corbett, Danny Westergaard. Just a lot of fixed time legends are in the mix here. We have a lot of mileage jackets this year. We just placed our final order. We have probably a dozen 1,000-mile jackets. We've got a half dozen 2,000-mile jackets. So it's going to be exciting times, lots of achievements there. Our 100-mile race, we got over 50 people signed up for that one, including Mark Hammond. It's going to be one of our faster runners out there. Thomas Rees, another masters but fast runner. Maya Detmer is coming out. Jason Green, shout out to Yeti Runners. Christina Pham just signed up. She is former Aravaipa Racing Team, super fast, has been out to Across the Year, or Desert Solstice before, sorry. Maya was actually, and so was John Willman. They both did our last person standing the first year.
Okay.
They made it pretty far with us, so it should be a good time.
When you go through this, just want to point out how many people are not from Arizona in this.
Yeah.
It is a very not local race.
I mean, it's a great winter escape to come out, get a lot of miles in, celebrate the new year. And that's kind of what we see. So last person standing, we got 17 entrants. We have both of our champions from the last 2 years returning now. Anthony Tadjewski, who bested me in the first year. We got Jeff Garmeyer, last year's champion. We also have last year's runner-up, Paul Nielsen, who was also a fierce competitor that first year. He's coming back again, and hopefully he'll figure things out even more so. We got, of course, Bryce Brooks, Aaron Barber, local. Michael McKnight, who ran 100 miles on 0 calories last year's running. We have local Kristen Mullins of Phoenix. And who else here? We have Eric Halston, who was attempting the FKT on the Arizona Trail as well, right behind Michael McKnight. So it's going to be a good show.
Yep.
That's kicking off at noon on December 31st, and we might try a live stream of it. I don't want to overpromise, but I would love to have a live stream of that. I think it'd be super fun. So we'll see if we can make that happen with everything going on. So not going to promise it, but I'm shooting for it.
That would be so cool.
You guys can tune in for that, however long it goes. I don't want to get into all of them because I think I don't want to bore you overly, but there's a lot of great competitors in all these races. Maybe I'll take a quick peek at the 24-hour because that one has 150 people in it. Let's see if there's any big names here. We've got Stacy Costa, Ryan Shepard, Van Fan, Chris Pope. Catherine Weiss is pretty highly ranked. Second at Tusher's Marathon. Should be a pretty quick one.
Got
Anyways.
Adam in there who's been running a bunch of races locally recently. I know he's done some longer. I think he did a really long one at the Doggy Dash even. Like he's been doing longer efforts. I see Peter Mortimer jumped in there.
Nice. For the 24?
Yep.
Awesome. Should we move on to Aravaipa Racing Team?
Let's do that.
Or what do you want to go through?
That sounds
next?
great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Aravaipa Racing Team, this is a little history. We wanted to support a local racing team a bunch of years ago. I forget how many years we've been doing it now, but it's just kind of a fun concept, and give a little bit of support to some of the faster athletes locally, regionally that maybe aren't at the level of getting a full sponsorship from a brand. And maybe even to help bridge the gap. That's another one of our goals, is to elevate their presence, and hopefully they can get some more support from out there. So this has kind of grown over the years. We have an application process annually, and as we've added events in other states, we've wanted to add team members and teams. So we do now have events in 4 states, and so we have expanded our team, and we had an incredible application pool this year, so thank you to everyone that applied. It was incredibly difficult to whittle it down to this team that we have, and it's a tough balance because we want to support as many athletes as we can while still giving the attention that the team deserves. So we had 20 team members last year. We have a bit of a bigger team this year, and we're hoping to increase the support. We've added a new co-team lead, team manager. I forget how we're calling it. But Colleen Lingley, in addition to Bryce, are going to kind of be working with our team members. So she's a former team member that wanted to kind of give back and help mentor some of our athletes. So we're really excited about that.
She's going to be such an asset. She's just so in the community. She's so knowledgeable. And then she's ran all these races and placed really well at them before. So very excited.
Also a mountain biker too, which is great because we also have a mountain bike team. So yeah, let's go through the team real quick. We did kind of shift the team. We're slightly more non-Arizona based now. We actually have more team members not from Arizona than from Arizona, which is pretty cool. It used to be all Arizona. And yeah, we'll just go through them here real quick, give them the team a shout out. So our Arizona team for the women, we have Sarah Ostaszewski returning. We have Nicole Lane, Brianna Grigsby, Lindsay McDonald, Georgia Porter, who's been on an absolute tear as of late, just won the Golden Shoe Award. So also has a sponsorship from Solomon this next year. We've got Nicole Hansen and Megan Kupres, who we talked about a little bit earlier. Returning for the men, we have Peter Mortimer, Austin Horn, Rory Moynihan, and a couple new faces. We have Ryan Raff, who has the course record at the Thriller 50K, and Devin Sharps, who's on the Aravaipa event staff and now also on our racing team. He loves excelling at those shorter distances. And then Pedro Gomez, who's also a competitive triathlete, but does like to use trail races as training and is going to be running, I believe, his first ultra at Black Canyon coming up.
Black Canyon or Javelina. Yeah. Yep.
Moving on to Colorado, we have Graham and Corinne Chalvoy returning. We also have added Ryan Sullivan, Adam Vaidbancourt, and Jeff Garmeyer. For the women, we have Meredith Bruner returning. We've also added, and Tessa Chesser has switched teams from Arizona to Colorado officially, but she's still on the team. We have Lauren Puritz, Celinda Heinel, Liz Canty, who just moved to Colorado. Shout out to Liz. That's our Colorado team. And I think I'm super excited to have both Nevada and Utah better represented. So we've had maybe just one athlete from Utah in the past. We've got a great team, I think mostly centered around Salt Lake now. Very excited for these guys and gals. So we've got Maya Detmer, who we just talked about from Nevada, and Joe Bushi. They're from the Las Vegas area. And then for the women from Utah, we have Jane Mouse, Megan Drake. For the guys, we have Caleb Olson, Sean Smith, and Mike Ambrose. So I don't have all the resumes of all these athletes here with me right now, but I can guarantee you they are all very accomplished in their own right. So.
Yep, and if you are curious for their accolades, check back next year on the Aravaipa website, and we'll have an updated teams page with a lot of their highlighted performance on there.
Yep, should have that up shortly here. So, yeah, just a huge thank you again to all the team members from this year. I know some are not returning, but quite a few are. So, best of luck in your future endeavors. And again, to everyone that applied, thank you. Let's talk maybe for a quick second. Sorry. Also our mountain bike team.
Can't forget the mountain bike team.
Yeah.
Which I'll just a quick note on that.
Yeah.
It's grown. Does it be 500% if it went from 1 to 5?
I mean, technically, yes. We had one team member last year. It was Miles White. So shout out to him. We had 24 applicants this year for the mountain bike team, and we wanted to expand but not go crazy this year, I guess. And so it was tough call, but we do have Marion Chalou, Maria Vasquez, Robert Cogburn, Andy Wenzel are also joining. Maria and Andy are like ultra distance biking, I would say. They're doing really long stuff, mountain and road, and then Marion and Robert are, I would say, more shorter distance to mid distance, kind of doing a lot of our local stuff here. So yeah, shout out to all these folks for joining up. And I did want to say real quick, if you are interested in the team, they do get free race entries. They do get some additional sponsored support from some of the brands that we work with. And if you're interested, some of the things we look for, typically we look for folks that are winning local races. So if you're lining up at a local Aravaipa race, say a dirt series race or something that's kind of more local, Copper Corridor, things like that, probably going to be winning the race, a lot of these folks. And then if it's a more regionally competitive race, you'll be on the podium. It's kind of I would say the bare minimum standards. It's not like that totally across the board, but that's a lot of times what we look for. So when we're looking to compare, so keep that in mind as you're, I guess, training up and racing this year. Keep an eye out for next year when we have our applications. Probably October, November timeframe is usually when those go out.
Yep.
All right.
What else we got? Let's see. I think I had just one or two quick takes for you if you want to dive into
we
those
don't
real
have
fast.
a ton of time with the holidays here, but we'll do a couple quick things here.
Let me start off with this. I'm going to throw it to the TV screen. Where is it, Jamel? What trail is Courtney on in this most recently posted picture?
Is this? Oh God.
I'm sure you've done it.
Yeah, this is.
Don't look at the comments.
Okay, I'm not looking at the comments. I mean, I'm gonna say it's like Piestewa, but it's not exactly.
It's a little farther in the other direction from us.
I see power lines. I see. Oh, is this South Mountain?
It is.
This is Marcos Denisa.
It's exactly where it is. You know,
right by the power line climb. Nice.
Got it.
Awesome.
Oh, Chris, I think Chris probably tied you or beat you to it in the chat. Chris Warden. And then this is one of the craziest finishes to a marathon.
It's at CIM here.
This is at CIM. This is with 3 seconds to spare for an Olympic qualifier.
For an OTQ.
So
oh my gosh. She is done.
Cannot run another step.
But she got it?
She got it.
Dang,
by
that
3
looked like it was
seconds.
1 second, but officially 3 seconds?
Officially 3 seconds. And then you see somebody come flying past her.
Who missed it?
I
Or it's tough to say. You never
right.
know until the official. That one was close.
With that, yeah, I was
That's wild.
talking to Matt about chip time versus gun time, but whew, right at the edge there.
Wow.
And then last one here, I thought this was cool. It's a high schooler made an app. He's a cross country runner, and so it's a predictor for your races, but it's also it analyzes your shoes. So you take a picture of your shoes, you put it on this app, which it's called Fast and Fit, only available for iPhones. Tried it out. Pretty interesting, kind of simple, but I took a picture of one of my shoes that I wore years ago.
You take like a picture of the bottom of it?
Yep.
Okay.
And then you just upload it, and it tells you if you're pronating, supinating.
So it looks at like the wear pattern of the tread, basically?
Exactly.
Got it.
It's kind of cool. It's at this point, it's pretty simple, but I mean, I could see this being like really cool for gait analysis, or if you're looking at like technique for your stride.
Interesting.
But yeah, and then maybe we can end on this. One more weird race I found. This is wool sack racing.
Oh yeah, wool sacks. I love wool sacks.
Never
heard of that
I
term
thought you were
before.
serious for a second. This is in England, as all the weird
guessing
races
that's
are.
just how they bag up sheared wool.
Yep,
Like in its raw format.
I believe so.
It looks fairly heavy.
And it's also downhill.
Oh God, that guy just skirts through the middle.
So yeah, wool racing.
Oh, I like that guy's wearing a marshmallow suit.
I like that there's a downwards hill that they're running.
yeah.
They're super top heavy.
Oh, and then is that a hill?
Yeah, it looks like it's rolling.
So it's a little bit of a roller.
And is this like the original obstacle course race, do you think? They've probably been doing this for a while.
This looks like a long-standing tradition.
I agree. But yeah, so after you do the various other strange races they have in England, like riding a bike through a ditch with a snorkel, and then all their go-kart races or their man-powered kart races, you can grab a wool sack, run up a hill.
I'll get till you try it.
Exactly.
Have you seen, I got one I'm going to throw at you. Have you seen this pro trail runners group that just formed?
Pro trail runners?
Yeah.
No.
Look on Instagram.
Okay.
I think it's called Pro Trail Runners. It's, I think like Francisco Pupi is how I found out about it. But I don't know if he's one of the leaders of it, but I think they got like 150 of like the top athletes together. And then they're having like a voting council. Yeah, that's it. Pro Trail Runners Association.
Oh.
So they're, I guess they're putting together some sort of an organization. They have like a board member, maybe to represent the voices of professional trail runners, or like kind of a way for them to connect and I guess have a voice. So it'll be something interesting to see and keep an eye on in the sport. You know, I'm not sure all of their goals but it'll be, I think, important to keep an eye on that.
Almost like like the NFL has like their players association.
It might be something like that. Maybe to share information amongst each other potentially. So
interesting.
I mean, you can see with like everything that's going on in terms of like fairness and anti-doping and all this stuff, like something like this is probably overdue and needed, because, you know, I think otherwise it's kind of left up to the, you know, a loose affiliation of race organizers or, you know, these governing bodies, which sometimes don't have the athlete's best interest in mind. You think they would, but that isn't always the case. So I think probably having a voice from the athletes is a good thing.
I agree. I was just like,
some big names.
That's what I was about to say.
Killian was on that call. Matthew Blanchard,
Francisco Pupi,
Corinne Malcolm.
Yeah.
You have Jasmine Lother, who I think won the Canyons 100K. You got Adam Peterman there.
Adam Peterman. I didn't even see him up there.
Yeah.
Wow. Very
so
cool.
Very legit.
Yeah.
And they've got like Pau Capel is on their board, Caitlin Gerben. As some of these names I'm not familiar with, but
it's a lot of people.
Yeah. So pretty interesting.
Does that about wrap it up for us, Jamil?
Let's see here. It might. I guess, yeah, just wishing everyone.
Triathletes are taking over. This is what I had. After Heather Jackson at Javelin, I saw this.
What is the Virginia State 100K road record?
I was reading through it.
Like, is that a race, or is it just like the entire state of Virginia?
I think it's the state of Virginia, is my understanding. State record.
Where was this at?
10th fastest woman in the country.
Huh. Right on. So yeah, just I guess this is kind of us signing off for the year. So thank you guys just in general for running with Aravaipa this year, for tuning into our media channels. We've got a lot of talks in motion about what we want to do next year. We hope to have a larger media presence in 2023 than we did in 2022. I don't think we did terrible, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement. We're kicking things off strong with the live stream of the Bandera 100K. I don't know if we've talked about that on Trail Talk, but we are looking for a couple more advertising partners to help support what we're doing. We're taking a lot of the burden to produce that put it on our plate, I guess, just being transparent. So we'd appreciate some help on that end. So we have a couple packages available. You can feel free to reach out to us. We think it'll be providing you some good airtime for your brand or your company. So, and it helps to keep these sorts of things free for the community at large. So without support of our partners, we likely will not be able to do this for long. So we appreciate the support. And you can also support us individually. And there's definitely a few ways to do that. You can join our Patreon on Steep Life Media. You can do super chat donations. I mean, even signing up for our races or shopping at Mountain Outpost. There's a lot of different ways to support everything that we do. So I know we have a lot going on here. That's my call out, but it should be great. We're putting a lot into this live stream. We're bringing out quite a few camera operators. We've got some exciting commentary co-hosts, both in the studio and on site. So, we're flying these people out. We've got a lot of equipment going out to Texas, and it should be a good show. We're excited to offer that. And then on the heels of that, we have Black Canyon coming up again too. So lots of opportunities coming up.
Yep, it's going to get spicy again quick here at Aravaipa.
Yeah, we're not slowing down too much.
Nope.
So awesome. Well, thank you guys. Do we have any questions? We didn't even get to any, but we kind of need to get wrapping up. Maybe if we had a couple real quick.
Not so much.
Awesome.
There was one from Levi Light Gaming. You miss me? Yes, Levi.
Yes.
We miss you. But I think that's all that's on here. So, yeah, cool.
Awesome. Yeah, keep an eye on the YouTube channel. We do have some exciting stuff coming out. I'll tease it now. There could be a Chasing Gold in the lead up to Bandera in the works. So just leave that little tip.
Perfect.
It's going to be great. Great way to start off the year. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time.